Hey y'all, sorry for the delay. Technology is hard sometimes. So thanks for your patience with me. I want to say welcome to Ask the Vet Facebook Live, hosted by Spay Neuter Network. I'm your vet, Dr. Bowden, and I'd love to hear any questions you have about any veterinary related topics. Please post them in the chat down here during our Facebook Live, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you. A few announcements. Every Wednesday, the Crandall location of Spay Neuter Network has free 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 DHPP and FVRCP vaccines. Again, that's at their Crandall location only on Wednesdays. And then there's also an affordable Spay Neuter Network vaccine clinic at Dallas Animal Services on November 12th. So coming up in like 10 days from 9 a.m. to noon. If you are curious about any of those events, you want to go to any of those, check out the events tab on Spay Neuter Network's Facebook page for more details. So Spay Neuter Network is also having a microchip special this month, and we get a lot of questions about microchips. What are they? It seems kind of vague. Like, are you putting a GPS under my dog's skin or cat's skin? But so they're doing them for $10 this month. So if you want to get your pet microchipped, especially after this Facebook Live, then go to Spay Neuter Network. And so I'll cover some of those topics. Again, if you have any questions, though. Oh, hi, Helen. I see Helen said, hello, doctor. Uh, and so, let's see. Um, so, microchips are required as part of an ordinance in the city of Dallas, and many other municipalities have this requirement as well. So, if you're not sure if your city requires it or not, check on usually their animal services page, or you can call animal control. This simple procedure can make sure if your pet were to get lost, that you would be reunited with them. So in a study, microchipped stray dogs were reunited with their owners at well over double the rate for all stray dogs. And for stray cats, that's even a more significant difference. And so thank you to all those who sent in questions ahead of time. The first question we got is, what is the difference between a microchip and a tag? And so microchips are great for permanent identification. The dogs can't lose them, the cats can't lose them. They can lose their ID tag. Nothing replaces a collar with up-to-date ID tags, but if they lose it or they're not wearing it when they get out, then the presence of a microchip might be the only way the pet owners can be found. And so, like I said earlier, one question that's commonly asked is it a GPS tracker? Microchips are not a GPS. Your pet will not be able to be tracked. Unfortunately, they haven't come that far with technology. There are some like GPS collars that you can get, but those need to be regularly recharged. I think even ones I'd seen recently were like recharged every day. And so, a related question is, do the batteries run out? There are no batteries in the microchip. It's like a barcode inside of your animal. So when it's scanned with a special scanner, you're able to pick up a series of numbers, which then links to your information. And so the next question was, do I need to update it if I move? And yes, absolutely. Make sure to keep your pet's microchip information up to date. If you've moved or changed phone numbers, you can have your pet scanned for a microchip at many local vets, and they'll be able to provide you with the microchip number. So you can contact the company to update your info. Once you have the microchip number from your vet, you'll need to Google pet microchip lookup. That's usually what I do if I'm looking up somebody's microchip for them. And AHA has a great tool that will tell you which company your pet's microchip is with. So then you contact that company, you give them the number, and you update your information. I have to admit that I I have not updated my pet's information since we moved recently, so I need to do that. Another question we got, this is a great question. Does it move around under their skin? Microchips can move around. They don't always move around, but usually they're put between the shoulder blades on the animal, that's where the standard place to scan them is. But I've found microchips in funny places like legs, on their bellies. So it can migrate around. If you know your pet is microchipped, just, maybe ask the person to scan a little more, and see if they can find it. And so I want to check in for questions after that flyby, um, of microchips. Okay. Hi, Mary Elizabeth. Oh, so Spay Neuter Network is in the DFW area. Um, and so, um, but you live in Temple, Texas. Hey, I've lived in Temple, Texas too. Um, so Elliot says, my cat keeps throwing up. I think she has a food allergy. I've tried different foods and she's currently on Royal Canin. She has lost some of her hair on her arm. Lastly, I use Pretty Litter and the litter color changes blue, which indicates a problem. I feel lost on what to do. And she's up to date on her shots. She eats her food and drinks her water. She's still active and playful. Yeah, thanks for reaching out, Elliot. Um, it depends on how often she's throwing up, what could be going on. A lot of cats do have irritable bowel disease. They have other issues too. And so honestly, it's best to check in with your vet. They'll have the best idea of what to do with your kitty after a physical exam, and seeing her in person. Um, I mean, it could be a food allergy. It really just depends on how your cat's doing. And so yeah, and then the thing with her litter color changing, that would worry me more about her urine. So again, I would make an appointment with your veterinarian for your cat, and they should be able to help you out. Okay, and then we have Mary Elizabeth. My dog's a dachshund. Aw, a little weenie dog. And she's 10 years old. She has IVDD and was paralyzed, but she did all the treatments with her. Um, you're wondering if it can happen again and what to do to prevent it. Uh, Dachshunds unfortunately love to get IVDD. That's intervertebral disc disease, for those of you who don't know that acronym. Um, the best thing you can do to prevent it is try to make sure she's not jumping off high surfaces. Um, and even if it doesn't seem high to you, it might be high to her. Even though she wants to do it, I know little dachshunds love being on the couch. They love snuggling, love being on the bed, but it's really best if they're not jumping on and off of that. And then unfortunately, again, dachshunds, they just have those really long backs, so they like to pop their discs out. And so just being extra careful with that. And I'm glad you've done all the treatments with her, and that yeah, that's great that you've been able to care for her through this. Um, so then we have Priscilla. Hi, Priscilla. She says, I have a question. My brother's dog has an eye allergy. The dog's eyes are all red and it's itchy. What should we do? So it might be an allergy. It might be something else with his eyes. Again, like I was saying earlier, um, with Elliot, I recommend getting your brother's dog to the vet. They can look at the eyes and see what's going on with them, what's happening. And so then, oh, and then Priscilla said the allergy comes and goes. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of dogs with seasonal allergies, and so they should be able to help you at your veterinarian, um, to diagnose what's going on and get you the best treatment options. Um, and then Elliot asked again. Hello again, Elliot. You're welcome. He said, my Akita just turned 1. How much longer should she keep eating puppy food? Um, I think at 1, it's okay to switch to an adult food. Of course, try to do it slowly over a few days, and not just switch from one to the other very quickly, because otherwise you can get some intestinal upset. And so just making sure you maybe do like mostly the Victor brand puppy food and then add in some adult food and add a little more in every day. Okay. And then Mary Elizabeth said about her dachshund, she's running and ears are flying in the wind, I presume. That's great. I'm glad she's running again. Um, Dachshunds are so sweet, so cute. So we got a few more questions ahead of time. Keep posting your questions. I love this. I love this audience engagement I'm hearing from y'all. So some more questions we got ahead of time is fall is here. Hooray. Hooray. Thank you for the cooler weather. Um, and the question is, do I need heartworm prevention? So if you missed October's Ask the Vet, check it out. I talked about all things heartworm. And to answer your question, yes, heartworm prevention is still important throughout the year. I've seen so many dogs end up with heartworm disease because an owner was like, well, it's cooler now, I'm not going to give it. And then there's unseasonably warm days in in Texas especially, where mosquitoes can hatch, mosquitoes can live inside your house. Ugh. That makes me itchy just thinking about it. But just yes, always keep your pets on heartworm prevention. And then another question I got is what causes cherry eye and what can I do about it? So, in case you don't know, cherry eye is when a dog's third eyelid, which we have two eyelids, dogs have three, so do cats. So, it's when their third eyelid protrudes from the corner of their eye and it's really red and inflamed usually. The exact cause is unknown. It's thought to possibly be genetic because there's common breeds who get it, like bulldogs and Shih Tzus and Cocker Spaniels and several other dogs too. Um, it can be unsightly. It can be quite ugly. And it can cause some other issues like dry eye when the glands are constantly out. The best thing to do is have it surgically replaced to avoid these issues. And sometimes it does need another surgery, unfortunately. It doesn't always stay in place. So sometimes it needs that extra surgery to keep it in place. The thing they used to do is just vets used to cut out the gland, and I don't recommend that because that can also lead to dry eye. And so, yeah, that's that's what I have for the questions. I don't see any other questions right now. Just checking our chat. Uh, you're welcome, Mary. Mary Elizabeth. She said thank you, honey. Um, okay, well, so just a few more things. Thanksgiving's in a few weeks. If I can't wait for the big meal. I can't wait for the pumpkin pie. Um, Last year, my dog counter surfed and ate a bunch of food off the counter. So try to avoid that with your animals. I know it's fun to share with our furry friends, but try to keep the feast on the table. Don't give any to your animals, no matter how much their big doe eyes are looking at you. No pie or other desserts for your pooch. Yeast dough, dogs seem to really like yeast dough. It's kind of smelly, so it can cause a lot of problems for our pets, though, if they do end up eating it, including painful gas and potentially dangerous bloating. And then putting the trash away where your pets can't find it. Last year I got messages from a friend, but I've gotten this message many times. Uh, why is my dog eating the trash? Oh my gosh, they ate the bones from the turkey. And that can cause pain and a foreign body and a big surgery that you don't want to deal with. So, yeah, just try to put the trash away. Maybe like after the meal. I know it's annoying, but get all the food put up, Tupperware in the fridge, trash outside. The dogs can't have it. And then you should be good to go to just relax with your family and enjoy that tryptophan. And then be careful with decorative plants. A lot of them can be toxic to our pets. Um, and really, just some of the common issues we see around Thanksgiving are pancreatitis, foreign bodies, anxiety from visitors, and new places. And so be extra vigilant in order to hopefully avoid a veterinary ER visit. Um, okay, so I'm going to check in again. Okay, and then Elliot asks, how often should I groom my Akita? Would once a month be okay? I like a self-wash pet shop. Yeah, that's great. You don't have to do anymore unless your kid is getting dirty or smelly. Um, and you don't really have to shave Akitas. They have that naturally fluffy coat. And so that helps them to stay cool and stay warm depending on the weather. Um, and then Priscilla says, oh, about your brother's dog. She always has diarrhea when we try different foods and nothing works. Again, I would recommend trying to go to the veterinarian and seeing uh, what might be going on with your brother's dog and his eyes. And then Helen asked, does y'all's clinic have vets for acute care at affordable prices? Spay Neuter Network doesn't have acute care. They offer vaccines, spay and neuter services. There are a lot of clinics in the DFW area that offer care, and so you can Google, you can call and ask what their exam prices are like. Um, it's hard to find acute care at a low price. Um, and so it's just really costly to take care of pets. And so I understand that though, Helen, it's hard. um, okay, so uh, let me check one more time on the comments. Man, y'all are quizzing me tonight. This is great. Um, Okay, just a few more things that I want to say before we end. November is Pet Cancer Awareness Month and Senior Pet Month, and those go hand in hand. And so just make sure to be checking over your dogs for any lumps, bumps, and your cats for any lumps or bumps. Um, in 1 in every 4 dogs will develop cancer in their lifetime, and that jumps up to 50% after 10 years of age. So, not to scare you, but just be on the lookout for any abnormalities with your pets and then address these issues promptly with your pet's veterinarian. The earlier cancer is detected, the earlier treatment can begin. And so then November 7th, next week, is Animal Shelter Appreciation Week. Thank you, animal shelters. We appreciate all that animal shelters do for our communities and to help the homeless pet population. Um, Okay. And then Jess is asking, what's a natural remedy for fleas? We are at a financial low right now and can't afford Bravecto. So, Jess, I would recommend going to Spay Neuter Network clinics. They have a variety of flea controls and they are lower cost. Um, generally, um, generally, there's not a great natural remedy because fleas are natural, and so we have to kill these pests somehow. And there's really great products on the market, and so I'd recommend checking out if you live in the DFW area. There's clinics in Fort Worth, Crandall, Dallas. Checking out one of their clinics to to see what you can afford with them. And then once you do, get all your pets in the household on flea control because once you have a flea problem, it's really hard to get it under control if you're only treating one animal and you have multiple. Um, okay, and then Helen asked, what do you think about my question earlier in regarding euthanasia and homeless shelter animals? Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that question. Okay, so do you think homeless shelter dogs and cats can be trained and taught to be service, support, emotional animals for the disabled, emotional, mental, special needs, military, police, instead of euthanizing them to put them to work and let them live, or even let the independent senior citizens foster the animals, providing like food and medical care is free for the senior customers or citizens? That's a really great question. I think, Helen, it's hard. I've worked in a few shelters, and so many of those animals have been neglected. They haven't been socially trained well, and so it's such a hard thing for these shelters who want to provide care for these homeless animals, but then the shelters are overrun. And I know the Dallas Animal Shelter is really full right now. And so they're doing their best they can to get animals adopted out, get them to rescues, um, getting them somewhere else besides just stuck in the shelter. And so it would be nice if we could train them for that. We would need somebody who's an expert in training service animals, and those aren't very common. It would be awesome if you wanted to do that, or if yeah, anybody wanted to do that, that'd be great. But yeah, it is really hard with our shelter animals. I wish we didn't have to put them to sleep. Um, and then okay, so I'm about to wrap up, but I'll answer one more question. So, why does my 11-year-old Chihuahua Terrier have flesh-like bumps on her body? Those could be skin tags. They could also be masses. And so, again, I always recommend going to your vet. They can put their hands on those lumps and bumps, see what they're feeling, and then recommend diagnostics from there. And so, I want to end by saying this Facebook Live by Spay Neuter Network and those employed and contracted by them is for informational purposes only. It doesn't constitute a veterinary client-patient relationship, and it doesn't provide diagnosis or treatment of your pet. Always consult your pet's veterinarian for questions or concerns about your pet's medical needs. This information is intended to support you, but ultimately you're responsible for your pet's health and well-being. Um, and great question, Helen. Okay, I see Elliot says thank you. You're welcome. And he says, please do more live events like these. And we are. We're trying to do them once a month on Wednesdays, the first Wednesday of the month. And so our next one is December 7th, and they'll always be at 6:30, unless you see the event move to another time. So thanks, y'all, for participating. I really appreciate all the questions. And if you have any more for next month, jump back in and check us out. So I hope y'all have a good night, and I'll see you guys next month. Bye.